Hey everyone, thanks for all the support I've been getting on my channel recently. That said, today I'm going to be fighting the Cuckoo. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So whenever you're fighting Cuckoo for the first time in the 3-star quest, there's actually 2 different missions where you can fight the Cuckoo. The first one we'll be doing is Jungle Menace. And basically, there's just saying, hey, their village is under attack by a Cuckoo, go kill it. The other one will be in Forest and Hills. I always enjoy fighting the Cuckoo because he's just very simple, very easy to figure out. There isn't really a whole lot to him, but you do get Sonic Bombs that I will be saving for another monster in the next rank. What these Sonic Bombs will do is they'll basically immediately stun the Cuckoo. Well, I guess you won't get them on this mission. But if you had Sonic Bombs, what you would do is use them on the Cuckoo, and it would basically stun the Cuckoo briefly, but then it would immediately go into rage mode. I believe these small barrel bombs do something similar as well. So once we go into Area 2, we should be getting a cutscene immediately, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the rations real quick. Yeah, here we go. Now, unfortunately, this map is infamous for the trees and foliage constantly blocking your view. So that's just something we're going to have to work around. So normally whenever you fight the Cuckoo, I believe his ears are down. And also, I believe I didn't fully explain what the paintballs are for. With a monster like Velocidrome that you can just stun lock forever, you don't really have to worry about him getting away much. But with the Cuckoo, he can fly. And of course you can't stun lock him. So you use a paintball, and then whenever he flies off, whenever he flies off, you can actually track where he's at. Generally, what you want to do is you want to try to bait out a close range attack, and then hit him and roll away. At least on the hammer. I'm a very simple guy. I get the bonk stick, and I go bonk. Whenever you're normally fighting a Cuckoo, you'll want to try to stay away from his legs and go for his head as much as possible, because his legs are armored and they'll not only take less damage, but on top of that, they will deflect your weapons more. Unfortunately, if a smaller enemy, such as a Mosswine or something of that nature, that's normally docile gets hit by a Cuckoo, they'll actually become aggressive, even though you weren't the one that hit them. And even if it's something like their wind pressure, it's still going to become hostile towards you. Generally, what you want to do is you want to attack whenever he's charging and turning around, or you want to attack whenever he's taunting. Those are usually your best times to attack. Because obviously, if you attack him and he's in the middle of an attack, you're going to get hit, and it's really just a matter of learning his animations and attack patterns. So that's the end of an animation. I can bonk him. Something like that. Also, sometimes in order to stun you, or I guess kind of push you away, he'll fly up in the air and then use his wind pressure to push you back. Now, I am playing a little too aggressively, a little bit recklessly, I guess you could say, but that's just because I've fought this guy a million times, and I'm not really complacent, just confident. Although, that confidence could get me killed if I'm not careful. So, a time like now, whenever he's taunting, I want to try to get some distance, and then use the Mega Potion whenever my health gets to half or less. Thankfully, I'm outside of the fireball range, so I wasn't hit by that. But you do got to be careful whenever you fight, let's say, the Rathalos, because his fireballs go in a straight line, and they hit you hard, and they do a lot of damage. So right now, he's doing his little, I don't know, I guess dance? That means he's about to fly off somewhere. And this is what I was saying, the Mosswine, it got hit by his Gus, so now the Mosswine is hostile. So screw you, buddy, and let's go to Area 3. Now, the unfortunate part about Area 3 is that it does have the Malinx here. So what I'm going to have to do right away is come over here and immediately try to kill these guys. Of course, you do have to be mindful of the Cuckoo, because if you're like right in front of him, then yeah, that could happen. So what I'm going to try to do is not get directly in front of him and kill these Malinx. And the Mosswine got me. So what I'm going to have to do is get some distance here and use another Mega Potion. And it really is kind of crazy that a mission that is as simple and easy as a Cuckoo can really push you to where you need to use a Mega Potion, because the little monsters are just so hostile and aggressive all the time. What I'm going to have to do is get rid of this Mosswine first, because screw you, buddy. And then I can finally whittle down the Malinx, if I can actually find them. Alright, so that's 2 of them down, and then there's 1 more I'm going to have to whittle down. Most people, those completely ignore the large monsters, but then they'll talk about, oh, this game is so hard, the bullfingo keep killing me, the small monsters keep killing me. And all I can think is, just kill them. Just kill the small monsters. I don't see the other cat, but I do hear it, so I'm trying to figure out where it is. Oh, there it is. And really, that is the most unfortunate part about, one of the most unfortunate parts about small monsters in the older generation of games, is that they can get in the way so much that you'll have to put so much time towards killing them that the large monster will just leave the area. Although it does look like there's another cat here, so I'm just going to take care of that real quick. There you go. And now that we actually got a knockdown, I'm going to bonk him again. And I did use the wrong move there. The hammer does have its triple pound, ground pound combo, whatever, and that does actually do the most damage. So normally whenever they're knocked down, you'll want to go to the head and then use the triple pound attack. And of course, be mindful of the tail. My goodness. So usually, if he doesn't do 4 attacks, as soon as he finishes the second tail spin, then you can get behind him and bait him, turn around, and get a good headshot in there. Although you do got to be mindful of his fireballs, because they do hurt. Now, the best part about the hammer is the ground pound. So whenever you do the charge-up attack with the hammer, which is why I was saying, you know, hey, this is probably what I'm going to be using for most of the game, it's because that second attack has an area of effect damage. And of course, you can stun a monster out of an attack. Although something you do have to be mindful about with the large monsters is that they pretty much always attack, like whenever they do a tailspin attack, they always do it in 2s. So they either do it 2 times, or 4 times, or possibly even 6 times. So now that Kutku's enraged, I can't really get in any attacks. I could probably like squeak in 1 or 2 attacks with certain moves, but I can't really, I'm just going to have to wait for his rage to go down. And I believe that takes about 30 to 60 seconds, probably 60 seconds, because he is moving too fast for me right now. Maybe if you're like a sword and shield user, you could squeak something in, but I won't be able to do that since I'm using a hammer. The best way you can tell if a monster is enraged is if you look around their mouth and see if they have like steam or flames coming out of it, because that usually means they are enraged. Of course, now he's leaving the area, but thanks to the paintball, I know exactly where he's going. So I'm going to take this time to use a mini whetstone and follow him to Area 1. In Area 1, though, it is a little bit more challenging than here, because obviously these are not any melee links, so you don't have to worry about your gear being stolen, but there is pretty much forever spawning Velociprey. And if it really was a big deal for you and you had a dung bomb, then you would be able to hit the Kutku with the dung bomb and force it to leave the area. Although I'm not sure if that's exactly how it works in this game. I haven't really engaged with the dung mechanics in the older generations enough to really be able to say for sure. But I do remember that the dung bomb mechanics don't quite work as well as they do in the newer games. It's like they won't leave right away and they won't for sure go. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't work. Sometimes if the monsters are with other monsters, then they won't leave the area, just etc, etc. You know, maybe if you dung bomb, you'll probably have to like leave the area or something. And of course you have to be mindful of the tail slaps, always. Yeah, always be mindful of your health and how many hits it takes to kill you. Because something like that, I could afford to take that hit, but if I was like 1 hit away from death, then obviously I wouldn't be able to. And this is where the Velociprey are really going to be a total pain, because I'm trying to triple pound here. Sometimes, just for the breathing room, it is a good idea to try to whittle them down and kill the Velociprey, but that was a horrible exchange. And if you do play this game, you're going to have to fight against the camera a lot. Now, even though this horrible, thankfully this game does have, like, proper hitboxes, so, like, if you are at a lower elevation, you can duck underneath the tail swing. Now, a good rule of thumb is generally if the Kutku screams, he's either about to do a bite or I believe do one other move. I can't remember what it was. But generally it's a good idea to try to position in front of Kutku in order to get to his head if he does a scream. Of course, this one Velociprey that didn't get blinded is going to incessantly harass me while I try to carve the Kutku. Ah, the joys of old generation. Oh my god, dude! Screw you in particular. My goodness. Another reason why I try to kill the Velociprey and stuff at the end of the missions is because it's a good way to try to get some practice in for fighting against them and around them, because they do hop around a lot. They're actually slightly challenging in this game. But once you get to Monster Hunter Freedom Unite and you actually get access to palicos and the like, then they become a lot easier. Or obviously whenever you're in multiplayer. Because with more players and, you know, more, I guess, meat walls, or meat, what is it? Basically decoys, then there's more for them to focus on and less of them to focus on you. It just makes it a lot easier in general. So I'm going to go ahead and store my Kutku stuff, because these are going to come in handy with crafting the Kutku armor, which will be the main thing I'm grinding for. Because, unfortunately, the Kutku armor is what I'm going to need in order to fight Rathlos. So inevitably there will be grinding. Probably a grinding episode, or I'll probably just grind this weekend, because after today I got 2 more days. I believe it's the Battle Helm I'm looking for. Yeah. So I'm going to need iron ore, earth crystals, whetstones. I'm going to have to just go grinding. And then, of course, there's the Kutku mail. Oh, right. So I remember now. The Kutku armor doesn't have a helmet. But I believe the battle armor is a separate armor, and its thing is like, oh, it's got high defense, but it's got huge elemental weakness. So pretty much what you should do is get like the battle helm, or I don't know, maybe even the Velociprey helm. Yeah, looking at those defenses, it's probably better to just get the battle helm. So yeah, you know, get the battle helm and basically just get the Kutku armor, and then you're pretty set to fight Rathlos and some of the later end-game enemies. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if the Kutku is available to fight in the Forest and Hills. Live or Legend, that's going to be tomorrow. Yeah, slay the young Kutku. Now that I've killed it in the forest, I can slay it in the Forest and Hill. It's attacking people all over the place. Show me what you're made of. So if you didn't know, the Kutku is, in canon, supposed to be like a hunter's first wyvern or something like that. And the whole premise is that it's weak and it's easy to kill or repel and whatever else. And basically, people would send hunters out to kill young Kutku in droves, just all the new hunters, because it's such a weak and easy monster to beat. But also, they're very cocky, and they like to just basically harass and assault people. They're like an ostrich. Basically, young Kutkus are giant, scaly, fire-breathing ostriches, if that gives you any idea of what they're like. Or I guess an emu would be a better example. I do hear about, ever since the emu war or whatever, emus will actually like come up to people and then like nudge them and then run away. And basically just, in general, cause mischief. I love emus, honestly. I mean, I understand they're a nuisance, but at the same time, come on, you didn't have to, like, go and eradicate them all. Or try to, excuse me. Yeah, sorry about bringing that up, Aussies. That's my Aussie viewers. I know it wasn't y'all, I know it was the government. It's always the government, right? Anyway, the young Kutku usually spawns in Area 10, I believe. So if I go to Area 3, it should be there. It's going to be a little bit of a pain to track it down just because the young Kutku flies, unlike the Velocidrome, which runs. So it's going to be much harder predicting where it's going to go. Although I am going to check Area 4 just in case. I know I said nothing in here, like in the first game spawns in Area 4, but you never know. Yeah, so I don't hear any footsteps, so it's most likely in Area 10, or that's at least where it spawns. For those of you who might be wondering, hey, why didn't you ever go to Area 9? Don't worry about it. We're going to see plenty of Area 9 whenever I fight Rathlos. Honestly, I hate Area 9. There's malinks in there. The camera's bad. It's a corridor. Absolutely the worst. Yep, there's the Yon Kutku. And now it's flying off. Or is it flying here? And I know I was talking about... Yeah, it's flying here. I know I was talking about how you have to be mindful of the monsters, like the little monsters, because these Palico, unfortunately, if they're hit by wind pressure, will suddenly turn their attention towards you instead of the monster and try to blow you up. And once you anger one, all of them come after you. So now I have to do a bit of pest extermination, or I'm going to have a whole bunch of small barrel bombs coming after me. Huh. Well, that's weird. I don't think that one was being hostile towards me, but... Oh, I guess I was wrong. For me, when it comes to the Palicos, I might have remembered wrong, but I swear I remembered if, like, one of them was hostile towards you, then all of them in a certain vicinity, or just all of them in the area, would be hostile towards you. Thankfully, in this game, the fireballs and stuff aren't as bad as they could be. I can't remember when it was brought in, either with Monster Hunter G or Monster Hunter 2, but the fireballs don't actually burn you and cause fire damage. I mean, they do have elemental affinities, but it's just like a straight damage tick. I guess. Now, when it comes to the hammer, there's really only 3 moves you want to worry about. The first one is the safe option, the ground pound. The second one is the spin to win, is what everybody calls it. Although it does leave you open to attack. And the reason why is once you fully charge it and you get that golf swing in at the end there, that does massive damage. But the multiple spins doesn't really do a lot of damage by themselves. So really what it is about is that golf swing at the end. The third one is, of course, the triple pound for whenever the Kutku is actually on the ground, or any monster in general. You'll want to go to their head and hit them in the head with a triple pound, because that does the most solid damage. On a different note, I actually used to play a lot of lance, and I always did the upward pokes, because obviously, you know, they reach the monster more easily than if you just did the forward pokes. And it turns out the forward pokes do more damage than the upward pokes. So, who knows, when we get to multiplayer, I might try out lance. And of course, there's the always lovely foliage blocking your vision, and then of course getting tail smacked by the Kutku. Yeah, I'm gonna have to be careful. Now, unfortunately, I did release the charge too early, and whenever you do that, you actually do a different attack. It's a lot weaker, and it leaves you very open to attack. And that's what I was saying about the spin to win. It does leave you open to attack if you aren't mindful about when you use it. I should use it a little bit sooner, but I was really wanting to get that golf swing on the head. Really the biggest advantage you have against Kutku, and one of the easiest ways you can kind of whittle him down, is by using his turning speed, I guess, against him. So if you're charging up a ground pound, it's a good idea to try to stay closer to one of his sides, like obviously in front of or behind him, but close to one of his sides so that whenever he does attack, you can take advantage of that opening and get a ground pound in. And then, of course, you can dodge out of the way of the next attack. And that's what I was meaning about the foliage. If I could actually see what he was doing, I probably could have dodged out the way, but the foliage got in my way. Or I'm just bad at the game. You know, you decide. Oh, great. Area 9. Looks like we'll be taking a look at it after all. Oh, that's right. Kutku never lands in Area 9. He just goes over there because Rathalos goes over there. He actually might end up coming back over here. Oh, no, he's going to Area 4. So, thankfully, the felines here didn't harass me too much. But generally, if you don't kill the ones that are hostile towards you, what they'll do is they will pull out a bomb and blow you up. And it is not a fun time. Of course, the main issue with older generation monsters is that they are kind of buggy. So sometimes they'll fly weird around the map, and sometimes you'll get there and they'll just immediately fly off because they don't have anywhere to land. Or at least their AI doesn't register anywhere to land. Some I did forget to mention, of course, his wings are armored. So as you saw, I was trying to hit his head. I was too far behind and ended up hitting his wing, and it's armored. So it bounced off. Alright, and now that he's enraged, I'm gonna have to put my weapon away and just hope for the best. Now, the only really bad part about this area, generally this is the ideal type of area you want to fight a monster in, just clear and open. But, you know, without the Vespoid. That really is the main drawback about being here. And this is what I was saying about trying to get a hit in. It is really difficult, and even if you can get a hit in, it's going to be probably a glancing blow or like an edge area of effect blow that doesn't do full damage, and then you'll have to immediately get out the way. Because even now, as you can see, I'm trying to get a hit in, trying to find an opening, and there's hardly none. And honestly, you'd be better off just putting your weapon away and sprinting around waiting for their rage cycle to end. Yeah, and that's what I mean. I didn't even fully get off the attack, and he already hit me, and obviously when he's enraged, he does increase damage, and he's faster, and it's just a whole miserable thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flash him so that I can carve this Vespoid, and then of course I'm going to heal. But unfortunately, as soon as that Vespoid died, pretty much immediately another one showed up. Well, that's really unfortunate. Sometimes you'll hit a monster right as it goes down, and then you'll just completely miss the opportunity. Another thing is, whenever they are taunting like that, you'll ideally want to do the triple pound, because, again, it does the most damage. And, of course, it can stun them. Also, fun fact about the first Monster Hunter game, I believe the Yon Kutku is the only enemy with actual breakable parts. I mean, obviously I say that right as I shatter a Vespoid in a million pieces, but I mean like big monsters. You can't really like cut off the tails or break the heads or anything like that, except with the Yon Kutku. You can actually break his ears, I believe. Oh, There he goes. He's limping now. He's about to die. So I believe we should be going to Area 5 to rest. So before I actually go in there, obviously there's going to be those 3 Velociprey still, or 4, I believe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for his icon to turn blue. Although I do have to be mindful because the paintball, I believe, only lasts about 5 minutes. So it's probably about to wear off any moment now. But once his icon turns blue, it means he's de-aggroed from me, which most likely means he's asleep. And then once he's asleep, I can go in there and take care of the Velociprey, and then I can get some extra damage in on the Yon Kutku by hitting him while he's asleep. Yeah, there we go. So now he should be sleeping. And I can go in there and murder the Velociprey. And then obviously, if you want a little bit of extra scales and stuff to sell, you can just kill the carve the Velociprey there. I actually didn't notice there's 5. Oh no, the Velociprey woke him up. Yeah, that really is a double-sided sword there. So monsters can damage each other, but that does mean a Velociprey can wake him up, and then you dodge out of the way of the Velociprey and straight into one of his attacks. And then he's a dickhead, so he taunts you. But then you can do that and say, haha, now I've got you right where I want you. Now, unfortunately in this game, while there are hitboxes, which is great because that means you can dodge in and under and around attacks and stuff like that, there are bad hitboxes, a lot of them. So if you don't know, a lot of times whenever they do a pause like that, that means they're about to charge, like do a charging move. I know it doesn't apply every single time, but a majority of the time, if you see them just suddenly pause, don't take that as a chance to freely attack. Dodge out the way, because they're probably about to do something that'll hurt. See, and that's what I meant. Whenever they pause, they're usually about to do a charge attack or something, so better to just get out the way and not risk it. And just like that, Yon Kutku is slain. What I love about fighting him in this area is there's no small monsters to freaking harass you. Always nice. You know what, just because this guy kept taunting me, I think it's only fair that I give him the Halo special. I am a literal man-child. Alright, and that'll do it for today's video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Most likely what I'm going to do tomorrow is do the Liver of Legend, the most annoying quest in all of Monster Hunter. Honestly, I'm probably even going to title the video something like that, or maybe, you know, hey, this quest gives people literal PTSD. I don't know, something like that. Either way, I appreciate all the support and all the comments I've been getting on all my videos. If you want to support the channel, like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like for me to make this a full-time endeavor, then do feel free to join my Patreon. Any support would be greatly appreciated. That said, thank you everybody so much for watching, and have a good night.